is a bit of a guilty pleasure of mine. It's not a movie that I would necessarily recommend to everybody because it is something that I specifically enjoy so much. And I should point out that this is a high school movie. So get ready for that.
And you also like Warm as the Bluest Collar, and that is also a high school movie.
You could say that, sure.
Yeah.
So, and those are probably both
Warm as the Bluest Color, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, blue is the warmest color, yeah. Interesting.
That was pretty open-ended offering.
A pattern is forming. What was pretty open-ended?
The little offering you just gave there. Like, well, I wouldn't recommend it for everyone. It's a guilty pleasure of mine.
Well, the thing that really gets me about this movie is the main character, Oliver Tate, is a sophomore, I believe in high school, maybe a junior. And
do you ever take state?
No, unfortunately.
Oh.
He is the person that I saw myself as. Not who I was, but who I saw myself as in high school. And I don't know. So it's mainly targeted at me, this movie.
Yeah, it looks like he's trying to be a writer or a script writer or something like that.
No, I don't recall.
Oh, it's just
it's not a major point.
It might have just been from the previews, the way they introduced it. Okay.
He does write a bit. He types. He's got a typewriter.
Yeah. From the preview, it looks very Wes Anderson-y.
It does look very Wes Anderson-y. Yes.
You sounded really pleased to hear that as feedback.
I was going to say that.
Actually.
Like, if I were to describe this movie to somebody, it's got a Wes Anderson feel to it.
Yeah, the dialogue. For sure. The snappy dialogue and the backhanded compliments and stuff like that.
Snappy, yet somehow managing to still sound really apathetic dialogue, right?
Yeah.
So it's a conversation 100 miles an hour, but everyone's like, whatever.
Yeah.
Well, the main character especially is very, very snappy in his dialogue. And it shares a lot of visual similarities. It's on a much smaller scale, which I'm sure is largely due to the budget as far as, sets and stuff like that. And it doesn't quite go so far with the symmetrical frame like a Wes Anderson movie would. And the titles that pop up. It doesn't quite do that so much. But it has the feel.
Is the main story arc compelling, or is it the relationships between the people, like in the snappy dialogue? Is it the story's good, or the acting and the script is good type thing?
I'd say the whole thing is done well. It's so there's a term used to refer to some directors, and my mind is blanking right now. No, I can't think of the word. But
in editing, this will take like a split second. It'll jump past.
Yeah, except for the fact that you're mentioning it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Wait till we're done and ask to leave the silence.
Yeah.
Right. Repeat your question for me now. What?
Oh, I was saying, is it a good story, or is it just the?
Oh, okay.
Scenes?
Yeah. So I was saying the style of the direction is the biggest appeal to me.
Yeah.
I enjoy the story. I enjoy the characters. I enjoy everything. But when you put it all together, the photography that was done, the way the story is presented that visually, and then through dialogue, the way the story is presented, and then music especially. I enjoy the soundtrack a lot. I think I bought it actually.
Wow, that's bought it and don't regret it, because that's a rarity for a movie soundtrack.
Oh, I have a fair number of movie soundtracks that I don't regret.
Huh.
Well, actually, soundtrack might be the wrong word. This one is a soundtrack, which also doubles in a lot of ways as a score.
Okay.
Because you get the montage happening here and there. So it takes, it's not heavy. It's not too heavy, but it happens.
Does the director have another movie that you would recommend?
Another movie that I don't actually know. His big thing, where you would know him from, is if you ever watched The IT Crowd, I think it's called.
Yeah.
Have you seen that?
Yes.
He's the guy with the afro, or the half afro.
The half-fro?
Yeah.
Huh. So the trailer looks like
that's what it's called, right? Does that not ring a bell for you?
Are you talking about the black guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like the only thing I've seen him in other than the IT Crowd is the Watch.
I don't know. But he's the director.
Yeah.
That's him.
Which is interesting because Ben Stiller's in there, and this is presented by Ben Stiller.
Yeah.
So it all comes
Ben
together.
Stiller, he's actually in one shot of the movie, which I didn't notice until I had watched it for like the 5th time, which, by the way, I've seen this about 5 times.
Huh.
One of the few movies that I've seen that many times. It has that thing where I can just watch it many times I've not, however, broken this film down and actually studied it, which I should do just for myself. What was your question? Trailer? What?
It looks like it's selling us a romantic comedy.
Yeah,
But
that's a bit tricky. There is a romance. There's a teenage romance in this film, but it is not, I think, the focus of the story, at least in my interpretation.
Yeah,
I wouldn't call it a romance.
it looks like a bait and switch almost, in that you could use a trailer for this movie to say, I could use a trailer for this movie to convince my wife to watch it, and then it's going to be way more screwed up than it sells itself as. And that's...
I wouldn't say anything about this is screwed up. No, it's pretty tame as far as, trying to be controversial or whatever.
Sure, it looks though. I don't know. I feel like I'm trying to like invent a movie for myself in my head surrounding the very limited amount of material I've seen from it, and it seems like I don't necessarily mean like controversial or violent or profane screwed up. I mean just kind of harebrained screwed up. Maybe that's a poor way to ask it.
The story I got from the trailer is that okay if I say what it is?
Yeah.
Is he, is likes her, thinks it's destiny, and then if he'll find out that she was using him to get a different guy, and then he moves on with his life and then like he is self-assessed and then realizes that he's better off.
See, that to
becoming an
me sounds like a standard packaged American teen romance movie, and I feel like there's bigger things coming from it than that. And
That's
I feel like
that's the
bait
flow
and
of the
switch.
preview. Like when he's like, "What are you going to do with the pictures?" and then they show a scene of her with a redhead while he's staring outside, and then him saying, "My heart's broken."
Yeah, I see, and I think like that's the movie that I could trick my wife with.
Yeah,
And
but you think
then-
this is going to be different than
And
that?
then it's
Okay.
I anticipate something different.
Hmm.
A meditation on.
Yeah, it's different than what you described.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so that specific moment you're referring to, she takes pictures of them kissing. This is seen in the trailer. And then she uses them as revenge because her boyfriend had cheated on her.
Oh, okay.
So
the
she posts the pictures around the school so that
Okay.
he sees it and then he gets jealous. And then it goes from there. That's the beginning of their romance.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
What's the dad been in?
Good
yeah,
question.
that
Game of
face,
Thrones.
Game of Thrones, yeah.
Who is he in Game of Thrones again?
You know,
He's one of the
Some
black.
guy.
He's the night watchman that doesn't, or the.
he's not dead yet.
He's the wall guy that doesn't like
Jon Snow.
Jon Snow.
Yeah. He isn't dead yet though.
No,
That's-
no. He's the guy who just showed up and he had cut off the guy's arm, the guy's hand, and now he's on the black wall or on the wall.
Okay.
He cut off Jamie Lannister's
Yeah.
hand. Is that him?
Ah,
Yeah,
Oh,
exciting.
wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
By the way,
Now-
the word I was looking for was auteur.
Oh, I was gonna try to suggest that word, but
I was also
I
going to say
didn't
it,
want to pronounce it
but I
wrong.
assumed that you would just like have already skipped that one because it was the obvious one. So I thought you were looking for
It was
something else.
yeah, it's the obvious one. That's why
Oh, man.
it was unfortunate that I couldn't think of it.
No,
No,
I
I was being
appreciate it.
sarcastic. I've never heard
Oh,
of it
okay.
before.
What?
Auteur. Were you also being sarcastic?
No, people love to say that about Quentin Tarantino. Or,
Yeah, well, it's
or
true.
Wes
There are very
Anderson.
few auteurs in the film industry anymore,
Michael
or
Bay.
at least big one. Yeah, technically that might be true.
Yeah.
But okay, well that's a different story. Yeah, this one, sure, auteur, and I say that's the most appealing part of this movie is because the director gives such a unique feel to it. And if I were to compare it to something besides Wes Anderson, I would say The Adventures of Pete and Pete, which is
Wow.
which
Yeah,
is
that's-
possibly
I-
one of my favorite TV shows of all time.
I do see that from the
or
preview.
the
Man.
favorite.
Yeah, you mention it and I can see it. Even looking at a
Yeah.
still from a trailer, I can see it. That's very interesting.
Yeah,
Huh.
because it's like they verbalize and visualize an aspect of your own personality that usually is just held in the imagination. Like we don't see ourselves as we are. We see ourselves as something else. When we replay conversations in our mind, we
Yeah.
hear them differently where our own speech is much more eloquent, for example.
Very true. Yes. I am the hero of every argument.
Yeah.
I mean, in real life, but then also when I play them back in my mind, I'm still the hero,
Mm-hmm.
except even more so.
Yes. Well, so this movie shows life in that way. It's not so much an accurate telling of events as it is how we would reflect on them in the future. And the way the movie opens is it opens with a letter from the main character to the audience, which says something along the lines of, "My name is Oliver Tate. This is a biopic of my life. Please be respectful, and I hope you enjoy," or something to that effect. And so, yeah, I mean, that's accurate, and it's actually stated in the film that that's what this is. They're showing a very subjective reflection of one person's life through his own eyes. And so he's definitely the hero of his own story. And you could go ahead and interpret if you wanted to how it might have actually gone down. I mean, if that interests you, if you're into fan fiction,
Wow.
I suppose.
Yeah.
But this is a character I can relate to in that sense, where this is not who I was, but it's who I saw myself as similarly
Wow.
in high school. And this is definitely the anti-hero of the high school genre, if you will.
Very interesting. Huh.
Yeah. And what I like about him is that he's not a good person. He's not the compass of morality. He does bad things, and well, not really bad things, but he does things that you would maybe possibly later cringe when you thought of, like, "Ooh, I was really a jerk just then."
Wow. Yeah. My life is fraught with those. Even
Yeah.
what I just said there, why did I say that?
Yeah.
Man.
Anyway. So yeah, if you're the type that likes to reflect on high school and you weren't on the high school football team, this may appeal to you.
That's true. I could use some self-examination, actually. This might be an interesting lens through which
Right.
to do that.
Or if you just enjoy cinema, I think that's the key here, is to see a story told in a very interesting way. And it definitely breaks the fourth wall. I mean, you see the character speaking to the camera. There's voiceover.
No, when they're speaking to the camera, they are speaking to you, the audience, and it's not a...
Yeah, they're speaking to the audience
Okay.
specifically. And that's the great thing. Expositional dialogue is not in this film.
Because they'll look at you and tell you.
Yeah.
That's so good.
Yeah. I just love it. Can't explain it. It's got the X factor. You know, I can try to deduce exactly what makes me enjoy this film, but in the end, it just has that thing.
Can you think of a movie that if I like, I would like this?
Yeah, I
I'm
mean,
sorry.
we started out with Wes Anderson.
Wes Anderson, sure.
Yeah,
And then Adventures of Pete and Pete.
yeah. You can spend 1,000 ways to describe it, or I can go, "Have you seen Wes Anderson?" They're like, "Oh, okay, cool," and then move on. Like that's.
But in
the convenience.
comparing, you don't develop your own ability to describe. And then when you
You
find
can do
something,
both though.
when
That
you
is a valid
find
point.
something that defies comparison,
You act like description is not comparison, and it is. That's all what description is comparing.
I really disagree.
No, that is true.
So like if I say a building
When you
is,
say something's
You're right.
beautiful, you're putting in the beautiful category. When you're saying something's funny, you put it in
categorization
the
is
funny
not
thing.
comparison. If I say it's
It
as
is.
beautiful as a flower, sure. If I say if you like flowers,
You're
like
just
it.
putting in a genre. Like saying Wes Anderson is just
I guess if I say a building is 30 feet tall, I am comparing it to 30 feet.
yeah.
But that,
Actually, yeah.
you can see how
That's
though that is
one way.
that's a different
Sure.
method.
No, I'm just
I don't-
saying that you can
I feel like
you
you
can
are,
just like reduce everything by just saying it's like this, and this, and it's okay. Like you guys keep doing you, but
It's also shallow content from a content creator.
Yeah.
If you want to really have this discussion.
no. If
that is my impression. Yes.
No, I would say that if someone just told me it's like Wes Anderson without me seeing the preview at all, I would know more than what you guys have given me. I would know way more about the
But
tone
you
of the
may
movie and the
also-
dialogue.
Okay, let me make this clear now. Let me clarify that statement, which has
Okay.
been misunderstood. It is like Wes Anderson. It does not fit into a Wes Anderson filmography.
Right.
This is not a Wes Anderson movie.
I know. But you say it's like
so
Wes Anderson.
you do not understand the movie from that sentence. It's just merely a similar visual style, and you may say a similar manner of speech delivery.
Right. And that is like it'd be very difficult to explain it.
If you like Wes Anderson, you may not like this movie. You could be the biggest fanboy.
Right.
That is totally possible.
on that topic, did you guys see the video that was if X-Men were directed by Wes Anderson?
No, I saw the link for it, but I never got around to it.
It's almost worth the 5 minutes of your time. I think Is this available on Netflix? Submarine?
It's available on Amazon Prime.
Got it.
So neither of you have an excuse.
There we go. I will. It's. I feel like this movie's going to show me something that I don't know that I've seen before, or maybe that I have, like
Well,
English Napoleon Dynamite.
yeah.
But
I wouldn't.
whatever.
I wouldn't say that it's groundbreaking. It's not. It's not creating a new genre. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
it's just well done. That's what I'll say. It's like a fantasy story in that it takes you into a world which is well developed and which is not our own.
And it clearly expresses itself to be, this is the way I remember it happening. This might not be the way it happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
That's how the movie opens. He doesn't say that exactly. That's more of an interpretation. But this guy is too much the hero of his own story for this to be 100% accurate retelling.
And is he presented as potentially unreliable?
I wouldn't say that the narrator is unreliable specifically. However, you could interpret that some of the events that are happening are maybe a little too fantastical for reality.
And you don't think it's just a storytelling device? Like, you don't think it's telling a fantastical story? You think it is telling the narrator's side of the story?
That's my impression of it anyway. For
You know what?
example,
Oh, please.
Yes.
Yes.
for example, there's a scene in which he convinces his parents that they need to have more sex because he wants their marriage to succeed. Like he can see the rift happening between them. And if you look at the IMDb description for this movie, the synopsis is something to the effect of Oliver Tate has two goals in life. One, to lose his virginity before his next birthday, and two, to rekindle the flame of his parents' marriage or something, whatever, right? So he has that conversation with his mother, and that's more the type of thing that you would think about. Maybe I don't even know if I would think about it, but he did it.
Huh.
He went out and did it, and it's an awkward moment for everybody involved.
Yeah.
And the way the movie opens, this is really towards the beginning when they're establishing the world. He goes to his parents' bedroom every day or every morning, and he checks the dimmer setting on their overhead light in the bedroom. And he says, if it's halfway, then that means they had sex last night, and if it's full, then they didn't. So he goes in there and he checks every morning.
What a just bizarre character attribute.
Yeah, and I love it.
Huh.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it's like that in itself sounds
Things like that, little details like that are what so impressed me about a movie. It's like, because, okay, I've mentioned this before, but I have to ask myself, if I were making this movie or writing this movie, would I have thought of that detail?
And with that one,
And no.
maybe, but not me. Like,
No, I don't think so. That's one of those things, like, now that you've heard it, yeah, it sounds like such a nice little moment, but would you have thought that up? No.
God, no. Yeah.
And that's what I like about movies. I like to see somebody else excel at what they do. That's my biggest appeal to a film.
Adding an extra 30 seconds of film that doesn't advance the plot, but only establishes the character in such a bizarre way.
Yes.
Absolutely. I'm excited. I look forward to it.
So you are going to watch it?
Yes, I promise you. This will probably be the next movie I watch, is my guess.
Okay.
Barring.
I have to warn you, though, as I mentioned earlier, I acknowledge that this movie is better to me than it probably is to most. It's like targeted at me. I am its target audience.
Now I feel
if you
committed to like it, so I can be on your level.
Oh.
Like, even
thank
if
you.
I hate it, I'm gonna be like, dude, Bill, I watched Submarine. Fucking loved it.
Show up with a
Just 'cause you'd
submarine
be like,
tattoo on your arm.
Yeah. You loved it too. And I'll be like, yeah, Bill, we have similar tastes. And you'll be like, I respect you now. And I'll be like, yeah, Bill respects me. And I'll be
Yeah.
in your face, Judd.
Yeah.
That's my plan for this movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No action sequences.
Not even one
Sorry.
explosion.
No. There are some fires.
Oh, okay.
This girl, his love interest, is an arsonist to a degree.
Wow. So,
Yeah, that's how they have fun together. They set stuff on fire.
see, this was that thing when I was saying it'd be a lot more screwed up, right? I don't
Yeah,
mean,
well, it's not real arson. Like, they're not burning buildings down.
Sure.
They're just like, they're going to he calls it the industrial park or something. And they're finding a bunch of junk lying around and they just burn it.
Huh.
So,
Nice.
I mean, low level arsony, a white crime. I think they
Mhm.
call it a victimless crime.